All right, checking to make sure the camera's level. I rebuilt the camera mount again. Greetings from Dystopia, episode 243, the van, and fishing, and communications, and. So, it's kind of a filler episode, nothing major. Back is finally getting to where it's tolerable. Me and Mr. Heatpad have become best friends over the last couple weeks. But yeah. It's finally getting where I can get up and around. Camera's not quite mounted where I want it. There we go. Rule of thirds. And is it wobbling? Looks like it's wobbling a little bit. Anyway, I've talked about the camera mount before. I like it. It works really well, but it can be a little finicky sometimes. I still need to go somewhere and walk, get my walk out. So, yeah, we'll do that. Anyway, the question, the van. Friend of mine, so it's, a little bit of a feeder question, but friend asked me how I decided to do the van this year. Every year I do it just a little bit different as I play with getting it right to fit with me. Yeah, you can see it back there. That cabinet right there, it's a wall mount 18 by 40 inch by 14 inch deep cabinet. It was on clearance at Menards for $15. So I grabbed it. And I thought, yeah, that'll work. I can set it on its side so the open end is facing into the van. I can put a rail across it and make it like a bin. A cubby pigeonhole type bin. And then I put it in there like that to stop it from sliding around right now. And I was like, Just now, I went in Menards to get a door stop and the ball type door stop and some bird food. And I happened to walk by this one spot and I'm like, wait, I saw the brand name of the cabinet, which is Clearview, spelled with a K. And I was like, hey, wait, that's the brand. And I went back and looked. And it's a teak-looking laminate door. Well, the 18 by 40 door, 17 and 7/8 by whatever, was, So, the appropriate size door for the cabinet was $10 on clearance. I don't know if it's just that color is not popular or what. I don't care. I just bought the door for it for $10. And I bought the soft close hinges to go on it. Didn't pick door hardware yet. I'll have to figure that one out. I want something fishy. And then right next to it for $5 was a 40-inch by 12-inch door for that same cabinet type. And then, anyway, so I'm going to put on top of it, I'm going to put the one door, soft closer. On this side of it that faces in, I've got some locking hinges. So I'm going to mount the 12-inch on the side on the locking hinges so that it flips up this way, locks in place to make one giant tabletop out of that. It would be, 18 and 12, 30. 30 inches by 40 inches, solid table in the back. Then I can take the cabinet from its current running position, front to back, turn it 90 degrees so that the flip-up shelf is facing out the back door. I can flip it up, I can hook on a vise and tie flies, or I can rig, or I can put my stove there and cook outside the back door. Chuckbox version 2.5. So yeah, I'll do a video on that as I rig it up. I got a bunch of other ideas for it too. I want to be able to have potentially power in there. So I'll put a desk grommet, like you see on office desks. So I can run 12 volts into the cabinet. In the very back corner of the van, back here, is a 12 volt outlet. And there's also an upfitter's fuse block back there too. So I could bring in a ton of power into that box. I think it's a 60 amp or a 50 amp upfitter's box back there. So I could rig it up pretty good power wise. So yeah, we'll see how this thing grows. It's not going to be, kick-ass cool, but on the very back of it already, on the door side, so on the narrow end at the back door, I've already mounted a magnetic tool holder. Just a little short 8-inch, just so I got a quick place to stick pliers and stuff like that at the back. See? Always thinking. And there's no reason to go out and buy. I see these guys. This is going to be the anti-VanLife rant. I don't consider it VanLife because I don't live in here full time. I'll put the hashtag VanLife because it'll get some attention. But maybe it'll give you some ideas. Seriously. If you do a lot of off-roading, then yeah, you want to go with solid construction. But this is pretty much the roughest I run. The occasional gravel road out fishing. So I don't need to worry about solid wood furniture. Whatever you want to put in here. I can get by with pressed wood. So that's why I decided, that cabinet works out really well. And there's no reason you can't do it on a budget. Big old gray heron just flew over. I mean, I'm rigging this for me for something that works. But I have been interested in the VanLife movement. And I like a lot of these vans that are out now. But let's be honest with ourselves. You're not going to go out and spend $45,000 on a van and then another $45,000 to $50,000 to build out the van. I see a lot of these nice vans and I'm like, oh wow, that's really cool. But when you look at the price tag, $90,000, $100,000 in a van, you're halfway to a house. Or if you're out in the country, you're over the price of a house, of a decent home, out somewhere remote in the country. Place I had down in Missouri, I don't remember what I paid for the property. $7,000 for 3 acres for the initial purchase. So, yeah, there's no reason to spend. Anyway, that's a whole other video. But yeah, I looked at the companies that make the retracting cargo, I guess you could say it's a cargo bay, a sled. It'd take the seats out, this mounts in there, and then it slides out the back, one long piece. Originally, I thought about that, something like that, because I can build a bed up on top of it. I can porch mode. I slide the thing out the back door, and I'm laying out there in the sun. But yeah, being realistic, I occasionally have, or had prior to COVID, friends in the van. So it made no sense to want to rip out the seats because it's a 2-seater otherwise. Otherwise, it's a 6 or 7 passenger technically, but you got to be good friends to get 7 in here. So yeah, that's why I never did any of that. So anyway, back to the root of the story. He asked me how I was going to rig the van this year, and at that time I hadn't found the cabinet. So we'll see that in a video in the next few days, because now I think I got most of the parts to get it rolling. Okay, next question. Let me get stopped up here so I can read this accurately. What are you looking at? Fool. Okay. In a previous episode, you talked about software-defined radio, shortwave, and two-way communications. What do you have in the van, or what are your future plans for two-way communications in the van? I like that. Very simple, eloquent. So for the last couple years, I've been playing with radio over IP, so radio over Internet Protocol. Amateur radio operators, you guys are all familiar with it. Everybody else might not be. Basically, there's several different ways of doing it. One of them is installing a client on your phone, like Zello is one. TeamSpeak I've even seen used. And essentially what happens is there's a computer or a phone, mobile, on the other end of that connection. When you key up on your phone, that other phone or computer receives it, sends the signal to the transmitter, a radio transmitter, and it keys the transmitter and sends your signal out through the repeater. There's multiple ways of doing that. Kenwood has their own client. Motorola has their own client. Anyway, pretty much everybody has a soft client for the radio operations, for remote operations. I liked it. I had a lot of fun with it. And it's a cool technology bridge. There's always the argument, is it radio? Well, yeah, it's RF. It's radio frequency. In fact, if I can reach down here and pull up my radio, because right now it's just sitting down on the floor. I forgot the brand of this. Senhai, I think it is. N60 or N60, I believe the model number is. It is an Android-based radio over cellular networks. So it goes out over the internet data and then connects to a repeater and then out from the repeater. Yeah, again, a lot of fun. It's a neat bridge the gap type technology, but it doesn't work for me. I've gotten several places where there is no data. So I am rolling back to the old school RF, conventional radio. The MXT GMRS is going to go back up here, up top. There's a service bin up here. I've showed that before in a video. So yeah, I'm going to mount it back up here. The antenna, you can probably see wiggling around in the back window. Believe it or not, that gets a good enough ground plane so I have a nice strong signal, but it's blocked by half the van. So we'll go back up on the roof with that. That one's a mag mount. Eventually, probably the day I make the last payment on the van, I'm going to get through mounts, hard mounted up top, but low profile. Because again, it's GMRS. I don't need a lot of signal. 6 dB a gain is what I get out of that one. So yeah, it's good enough on a 40-watt radio. But yeah, hope that answered your question. Typically what I have done in the past is I would have the mobile in the vehicle, so it was either in my van or in my Impala. And in the trunk, or back here, when I first got it, I always had 2 GMRS handhelds back there in a charging dock. So you could pull them out and go walk and do whatever. So that's it. And they're really handy when you're out fishing with somebody and you want to go upstream. They want to go downstream and work back up. Hand out the radios and off you go. You don't lose contact with each other. If there's a problem, boom. I gotta go for a walk here and get my other 1,300 steps, and then I'm done for the day. Anyway, so that's the communication side of it. Again, that box is going to play a key role to that. I may have a small 12-volt gel cell mounted back there to power my gear, and then a DC to DC charger to keep that battery topped off from the vehicle battery when it's running. Don't know yet. I have to figure out exactly what I want to do there. All right. We're at the old bridge, so let me switch over here Oh man, I love it. They finally, get over here in the shade. They finally put up barricades. I cannot tell you how many times I've come up here to the old bridge, which is right there. You've all seen photos of it. And the signs have been ripped out, and there's burnout marks, and the grass is all torn up going up to the bridge there. So, yeah, I'm glad to see that they fixed that. All right, let me get parked in a little bit better here. You know, I think I'm just going to leave the camera here. I'm just going to walk up on the bridge and I'll walk over to the train tracks and back. That should get me the rest of my steps. And I'll see you guys in about 20 minutes. No time for you, but 20 minutes real time. Let's see. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today. Got my distance out. I got 2 miles today. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Especially on my back. It's the first time it's been this buggered up in a while, but I've been kind of forcing myself to get off the couch, which it's a good thing, it's a bad thing, but yeah, me and my heating pad have become best friends, as well as some ibuprofen. But yeah, so I think I got enough video for today. Bore y'all for a little while. And I'll be back in another day or so when I start on that cabinet. I don't know, maybe tomorrow I'll start on it and start shooting video. But yeah, see you guys soon, right? Be good, be well, wear a mask, stay smart, be strong, and what? Stay mighty. All right, guys, we'll see you in a couple days.